What's good, YouTube? Alright, disclaimer time. Couple disclaimers. One, this is about the 50th take I've done this video because it's one that I've literally had, it gets my passion up. Second disclaimer is this, and this is your only warning. I'm going to say things in this video you're not going to like. Period. So your only choice now is to stop this video here or continue on with the video. And this is your only warning. Alrighty? Good. Now then, the response video we're doing tonight is to Lonely Post 1975, who actually responded to a PM from Freak Indie, aka LazyGameReviews. And here's a question. If we didn't have a rare or expensive video game, if there were no such thing as those in gaming, would you still collect? Well, I took this question a little bit more personal, and I made it a little bit more personal for me. More like this. Would I still be collecting? The answer is yes. You see, I have been a video game fan since about 1986. I'm trying to remember the year I actually got my first NES. I think it was 86. Maybe it was 87. But back then, nobody knew what the hell Steam Events was. Nobody gave a shit. Nobody cared about how expensive games were. By that I mean this, before you get flipping out. If the games were 50, I understand games $50, Jack. I understand that, but no, we weren't worried about if we were going to resell them. Here's what we did with our friends. If you actually remember these days, back when you physically saw people, you traded games back and forth. You either borrowed them in English this time. You either borrowed them from your friends, or you got sick of a game, so you traded the game to somebody, to your friend for some game they had, because they wanted your game. Like, all right. Remember those days? And you didn't have to worry about money. You didn't have to worry about sending out a package. You didn't have to worry about any of that. It was a lovely time in gaming. The sad thing is, that was 1986. That's forever ago. That's like 26 years ago at this point. Right? Now, look at the way gaming has, you could say, evolved. I'm going to say regressed. We have become an interactive community, which, not knocking, so hold the hate mail. But we've also become one where we tend to look for the games that are rare, that nobody's going to have, and then we go and pay some exorbitant amount of money for them. Why? It's a bit of an ego stroke. Or, to use the term Derek Ward has used before, it's a big dick swinging competition. Well, in reality, it is. Take a game like, say, I don't know, this one I have sitting right down here, which I know I have not played yet. Take Valkyrie Profile. This game can fetch about, if you find a really bizarre vendor, $300 on eBay, right? Okay. $35 off of a forum not called Peak Games Room. It was called Dragon's Den. And the person broke even on it. Because that's how much they paid for the... They paid $35 for it. It was, by the way, $30 plus $4.95. So, yeah. So they broke even. Did they give a shit? No! That's the way it should be. We should be looking at gaming or game collecting not as what game is going to fetch me the most money someday, because here's a stark reality. Every game you have in your collection at some point, it's going to be on one of the following three or a version of it. The PlayStation Network, the Xbox Live Arcade, or WiiWare. Now, if it's not on that specific device, then it's going to be on a version of it at some point down the line, or some set-top box thing. Gaming has gotten so bleh that it's now less about the love for gaming as it is about the love for the Benjamins. No, seriously. If you're honest with yourself, I want you to do this. I want you to do some self-examination. I want you to sit in your room one night, because I've done this. I've sat on my bed across from my three towers, which now are predominantly anime, and I said to myself the following: am I happy with my collection? Hell, am I even happy with the way gaming is going nowadays? Because the reality is, gaming's going to be about the haves and the have-nots until it's all forced to go digital. And then your complete box copies of quote rare and expensive games are meaningless. They're meaningless to any collector. Then what? Those games you probably would have raped somebody for, as far as how much you would charge them for them, they aren't worth the roll of toilet paper you'd use to wipe your ass with. Do you understand me? It's seriously time people looked at that aspect of it. Because that's where we're going. I know there's going to be people going, "Oh, fuck you, man. I like it when I have complete copies of it." I'm like, great. But I'll tell you what you can do. You go get your complete copies of the most expensive, say, Super NES games you want. I'll go get those same copies on import. I'll save more money than you do, because I know where I can get them. And I'm going to walk out with a smile on my face while you're sitting there with your wallet. You open it up and I got a fly coming out the fucking thing. And I want to blow all my money. See, I do occasionally the poor man's pickup series for a reason. Because I'm all about looking for the deal. My grandmother knows this. When I walk out of GameStop, she says, "Did you find a deal today?" And I tell her the yes or no, and if I tell her yes, then I tell her what the deal was that I found. Because despite the fact that I have a job, and a gamer on a budget, I don't like to spend a gazillion dollars on a game, and if I'm going to get a collector's edition, I'll pay it off incrementally, or I'll use trade-in to get the game. Like when I got the collector's edition for Ninja Gaiden 3 recently. That should have been $60. I got it for a quarter of that. I'm getting the collector's edition of Dead or Alive 5 at the end of next month. I'm not going to have to pay a cent for it. Anybody else is the ones that's going to have to pay $80. Because I paid it off. And I didn't have to put a dollar in my pocket to do it, outside the $20 that I put on the one day. But all told, I think I had $60 in trading credit put on that thing. No joke. But yeah, what I'm saying to you is, if a game was if all games were common, if there was no such thing as a rare game, a rare commodity in gaming, I'd be all about the gaming community. I'd be all about the games, especially like the quickie games, like say Rad Racer or Mock Rider or Gunsmoke or some game like that. I'd be all about them. You'd be unsubbing me because I'd be flooding your inbox with game reviews. And here's the beautiful thing. Even though we're not totally into digital distribution, there's emulators. Yeah, I know. But here's the thing. Again, there was an expression that I was taught many moons ago, and it's work smarter, not harder. I'm not going to bust my balls to go pick up some game which costs about $150 and I don't really want the damn thing. You know, people will say, well, if I'm going to pay the money, I'm going to play the thing. Oh, sure, you say that now. But let's say you have a relatively large collection. Okay? Think about this. Take how old you are now, and fast forward maybe, we'll say, 20 years. So if you're in your 40s, you'll be in your 60s. If you're in your 30s, you'll be in your 50s. If you're 20s, you'll be in your 40s. And so forth. Are you still going to have the passion for wanting to collect that you do now? If games that you wanted in the retro community just ballooned out of control as far as price went? The simple answer is probably not. And even if you scrimped and saved your money from your paycheck from whatever job you had, you may have come to your senses by then and gone, you know what? Yeah, it's not worth it anymore. The beautiful thing about the medium one of the mediums that I'm associated with, Japanese animation and Japanese music. See, those styles continuously evolve. The animation for the animes constantly evolve. The sound of the music in Japanese music is constantly evolving. Newsflash, kids, gaming is going to do this at some point. See this? Hold on. See this? This is your wall. See this? Boom! People have said we're pretty much at that point now. And you know what? Scary thought is, they're right. And it's to the point now where games that were once rare and expensive are soon going to be very commonplace because of the digital mediums that we have to be able to play them. Look at a game like, what was it? Fantasy Star 4. It cost $100 when it first came out. Also a $30 collection called Sonic's Ultimate Genesis or Mega Drive collection for like $30. Actually less than that now. I think it's like $20. And you can get the game for like $2.50 off of Steam. Yeah. Somehow that game doesn't look that expensive anymore, does it? You got a game... you got all these other games. You got Earthbound. Well, that game's going to probably continue to be expensive because that one, unfortunately, can't get put on like WiiWare. But the Dragon Quest games have been remade so many times that it's not even funny, and the fact that the NES cartridges are as expensive as they are, especially 4, is stupid. You know? But here's my point to all this. If all the games were common, I would be a collector. As far as I would be into it, as hardcore as I was back when I was, say, started doing summer jobs where I was going into, high school. Or before that. Now, because of the way gaming prices are, until we see that switch in the way games are distributed, which hopefully will eventually knock down the price of the physical copies, I can't say I'm really that much of a game collector anymore. Bring on the anime. Bring on the Japanese music. Bring on the things that I know I'm going to give a shit about that I'm going to want to watch. Because while some of you are paying $60 for a PS3 game, I paid $60. Oh, and that was one disc. I paid $60 for this. This was like 12 discs, and I'm going to start watching it this weekend. Yeah, I know I've been putting it off, but I'm finally going to start watching it. And that's just the way I look at it. And mind you, I didn't mean for this video to turn into a personal attack, and if you took it as such, I apologize. I wholeheartedly do. I know I said I was only going to apologize at the beginning of the video, but I changed your heart. Because I know the people in the gaming community, and I'm friends with a bunch of people in the gaming community. I just think we need to do a self-examination of our buying habits in the gaming community, and even examine our rules that we have set for ourselves in the gaming community. Because those rules we have may turn out to be our downfall in the end. Just a thought. You have a good night, man. I have some other videos I know, video responses that I've seen videos that you did, and I'm going to try and get those responses up in the near future. Maybe sometime today, after work. You have a good night now. Take care.